Okay, so let's take a look at how you can use Neon for PostgreSQL database as a serverless database tool. So basically, when you sign up to Neon, you can click on sign in here or sign up option, right? So you can use GitHub, your Google email, or use any other partner emails. For example, let's say Hasura. So when you sign up to Hasura, you will get option to connect with Neon, where you get free option to use 3 GB worth of data and up to like few specific endpoints like 3 to your particular allocation of RAM, right? So there are other options as well, right? GitHub, Gmail, and Asura. So once you sign up, what you can do is you will find dashboard that looks like this. So I signed up using Asura and I noticed that I get dashboard like this with one database that I'm sharing on Asura, right? This is NeonDB. There is user which is common with Asura and Neon, right? And it says technical preview at this time, but in your future this will change, right? Neon will be open to all partners or those sites, something like even Netlify, etc. So for now, here we can see I also get the connection string that I can use with dbviewer or even for some of the serverless application where you need connection string to connect to, right? Here you will also find list of operations that are taken on that particular database and the region where database is hosted along with database version, which is PostgreSQL 15. Limits you can see, branches, endpoints, right? And here you see the branch, right? You also see the total data size, right? So what here we can do is we can go through all the tabs first, or we can simply directly start with creating a database. So we check the connection details area where we have database option, create new database. Here can name database like, let's see, office data, right? Click on create. Can even add new user, type to add new user. So you have like two databases. The connection string will immediately change, right? And here you will also notice the operation that are performed, right? Now what we can do, now that we have database, we can simply go to this Neon SQL editor, right? We can also check the existing tables. So if we click on this, check the database NeonDB, here we have like company table which I created inside Asura, right? So if I want to shift this to, let's say, another database, currently I don't have any tables, so it will show me the error, which is understandable. So if we go to SQL editor, okay, so first thing we can do is we check the database we are using, NeonDB or Office Data. So Office Data is the database that we just created. Right now here what I will do, I will create table here with name say HR data, right? And within that I will use ID integer and primary key. Then I will move to name being text and then salary being integer, right? And at the end of this I can use semicolon and hit run. So request completed successfully. I can run show tables. Okay, so it seems like I put a wrong query there. So instead I need to put in select all from, let's say, HR data, right? And we have our query that runs successfully. However, we don't have any data here, so we may have to put something into the table, right? So here what we can do, we can use insert into, right? So insert into HR data, and then we first have to put in values. So let's say this is my first entry, so we run this, then we add second, right? Run this, then we add third. I want like 4 entries into this so that we can do some table operations, right? So we add fourth entry, okay. Now what we can do, now that we have added our entries, we can go to tables and shift to office data, and let's see our table. Here you can see ID, name and salary. We have data added here. Now let's go back to SQL editor. Here we can update, let's see, HR data table, set salary equals to, let's see, 7500, where ID equals to, say, third. And if we run this, let's see what we have. So if I go with office data, and if we check the third entry, now we have new salary here, right? Now let's go here and check, say, delete from HR data, where ID equals to 3. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here we will have to check this for office data before we run queries against it. Okay, now that request is successfully completed, we can go back to tables, check the table for the output, and here we check office data, and here we see that our third ID is removed from our table. So we managed to create a database. We added some data here with 4 rows of data. We managed to update it as well as remove one of the rows, right? Few things you may notice that PostgreSQL queries are pretty much specific. So if you're trying CockroachDB like some of the queries, that may not work with PostgreSQL, right? So you may want to take a look at that. Some of my queries that you can see here, some of them didn't execute properly, right? Now let's come back to dashboard and let's see if I want to delete some of the database, what are my options. So if we check, let's take a look at some of this. So currently we have like office data and this particular table, they don't give me option to remove it, right? So if we go to SQL editor, this is office data, and let's see, I use drop table, and here I type in our HR data, right? If I run this, let's see what happens. So table is dropped. If I go to tables, go for office data, it should show me no tables, so it does work now. Now the thing is, what if I want to drop the database, right? Does it give me that option? So I'm not sure, but we can try it out. However, I want to find out if there are options otherwise, right? So currently it doesn't feel like we have those options. Okay. Okay, so we have that option. You can go to settings, then click on this databases on the left, right? Then you can check the database you wish to drop and simply click delete, and that is removed. So now notice that we only have one database now. If we go to dashboard, you will notice that we only have access to one database now. So we started from scratch for Neon. We experimented with some settings over here, right? And you need to, however, get the queries properly, otherwise you will be seeing a lot of errors. So if you are from, say, SQL Server or so, then you may come across some of the queries that you will hitting yourself with error, right? So SQL editor tab is where you're going to run the query, and you will find them in history as well. You can see saved and history. So after some time this history is purged, right? So if you remove the database, the entries here will be purged along with it, because it maintains that within the database, right? And anything that you do with that database will be purged eventually, right? So if you check the dashboard tab, you will notice that change over there, right? So we have managed to connect to Neon serverless database for Postgres, and we managed to create a database, a table. We added some data, updated it, removed it. We also removed the database itself as well, and we checked around few settings within Neon.